How you doing? I'm Darren with Kickin BBQ. If this is your first time to the channel, then welcome. If you've been here before, then welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing you my recipe for my favorite pulled pork sandwich. I've never done it on the channel before, and honestly I'm not sure why, because every time I make a pulled pork sandwich, this is how I do it. Typically on the channel, I'm showing you just how to smoke the meat. We're doing the meat smoking, the sandwich making, all of that. We're gonna take a few shortcuts, make it nice and easy so you don't have to work too hard at it. Before we get into it, this video is sponsored by Chef's Temp. So we're gonna be testing out the new Chef's Temp Pro Temp 2 Plus, and man, the improvement they made on the probe is absolutely fantastic. I'm not gonna bore you with that right now. We gotta get this pork butt prepped up because it is gonna be going into the smoker overnight. We're gonna let it go all night long, wake up tomorrow morning, finish it off, but we gotta get some seasoning on it. I have probably 5 or 6 hours before it goes on the smoker, so let's get this seasoned up right now. All right, so like I said, I have this pork butt right here. This is a little under 8 pounds. I just picked it up from the local grocery store, and it looks really good. Like I said, pulled pork sandwiches. So the first rub I'm coming in with is the Tailgater's Barbecue Party Rub. I've said it a million times, and I'm gonna continue to say it until I'm no longer here, but this is the best base rub for meat. All right, the next rub I'm coming in with is my honey chipotle. Big surprise there, but you know what? I made this for pork and chicken, and there's a reason why I use it, especially when I cater. I'll have a link down below if you're interested in purchasing it. You can get it from Sucklebuster's website. You can get it from Shields, Ace Hardware. A lot of stores are starting to carry it, which is awesome. It's a blessing, and I wouldn't be able to do that without all of you guys purchasing it. So thank you so much for the support. It really means a lot. And that is it. So it is about 5 o'clock right now. I'm gonna put this on about 10:30, 11 o'clock tonight. I'm gonna leave it in this open in the refrigerator until it's time to go on the smoker. So when it's time to do that, we'll see you then. All right, guys, so check out this pork butt. This has just been sitting in the refrigerator for about 4 hours, 3 hours. It's 8 o'clock right now. I have the Z-Grill 700D3 fired up on smoke mode. I've transferred the pork butt to this wire rack with some warm water in this half pan under here. I did spray the wire rack just so it's not sticking to it. The reason I'm doing this is because we're gonna let this rock on smoke mode for a few hours before we go to bed, at which point we'll turn the cooker up. I just wanna make sure everything stays nice and humid in that cooker. We can build a slow, beautiful caramelized bark. And I also, since I'm cooking on the Z-Grill 700D3, it doesn't have Wi-Fi, so that's why I'm gonna be testing out this Chef's Temp Pro Temp 2 Plus. Now, they've definitely made some improvements to this. Number one being the probe. I mean, check that out. It's one of the thinnest probes I've seen. It almost looks like a little dart. And the internal temperature capabilities goes up to 212. The external monitoring goes up to 1,000 degrees. Now this probe right here is made out of stainless steel and zirconia ceramic. So it is going to be very durable. You couldn't put it in the dishwasher. I believe the base has an IP55 rating, which means it just can't be submerged, but if it does rain on it or anything like that, you will be fine. I am gonna be using the app to monitor this. Like I said, there's no Wi-Fi on the Z-Grills. I don't typically utilize Wi-Fi other than monitoring the meat for overnight cooks. So that's where this Chef's Temp is gonna come in. We're gonna utilize this to monitor the temperature of our meat. So if it gets up to 170, 180 and I wanna wrap it, I can get up and wrap it. But more importantly, we're gonna utilize this to monitor the internal temperature of the cooker itself. Because if I get a pellet overfeed or something, now knock on wood, I've never had this happen before. I've never had any issues with the Z-Grills, but I'm going to sleep a little bit better knowing that I have this there to monitor it for me. So I think this is gonna be a good real life test of this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get this down into the meat, to the safety line. There's actually multiple sensors in this probe right here as it goes down. So there's 1 line, 2 line. I want it to at least that line. I want to make sure I'm not next to a bone so I get a false reading. Now at this point, I'm going to set up this cook on the app. So let's do that right now. I'm just going to set up the cook here. I have pork, butt. I'm going to change this to I'm going to change it to 180 because that's typically where I like to wrap. So I like to do that. We're gonna ignore that. We're gonna start the cook, start the cook, start the cook. So I'm gonna get this onto the Z-Grill 700D3, like I said, on the smoke mode. I'm not gonna bring you out for that. It's dark right now. It is October in Minnesota, so it's getting dark early. But I'm just gonna put it on there like this. I'm gonna let it sit on smoke mode until I go to bed, probably 10:30-ish, and then I'm gonna go out and bump it up to 200 degrees. So I'm gonna go get this on the Z-Grills, and we will see you tomorrow morning, which is gonna be like that. Good morning, guys. We've had this pork butt going at 225 degrees overnight, getting a nice smoke bath, and I haven't even checked on it yet. What I have checked on is the Chef's Temp app a few times throughout the night. I never lost connection, and it's given me what I believe to be a pretty accurate readout. So again, I haven't checked on this yet. We're gonna do that in just a second. But before we do that, I also wanted to take a moment to thank the other sponsor of today's video, Z-Grills. As you guys know, I've been using Z-Grills for quite a few years. They've been a good partner to the channel recently as of this year, and I just want to thank them for that because I really enjoy their products. This thing ran 225 degrees all night long, no issues. So I'll have a link down below if you want to go and check out Z-Grills. Of course, I'll also have a link for Chef's Temp down below, and that's all I got. Thank you, Z-Grills and Chef's Temp, for sponsoring today's video. All right, let's check in on this pork butt. Dang, that thing is looking real good. The bark on that is looking amazing. You can tell it's already got that jiggle factor. We're sitting at around 151 degrees, and we've definitely hit the stall. So at this point, I'm gonna bump this up to 275 degrees until we hit about 165 degrees, and then we'll get it wrapped up. We'll see you in probably about an hour to 2 hours. All right, so it has been about 2 hours longer, and you can see that bark is set up beautifully. It is looking real good, so I'm gonna get this off and get it wrapped up, and we're gonna finish it off. You can see we're sitting at about 169 degrees in there. I did crank it up to 300 just to get it going, but man, that is looking beautiful. So I'm gonna get this wrapped up, and I'll show you what that looks like when it's done. All right, so I did get the alert. The cook is done. We're sitting at 208 degrees. I was doing a few things, but I just want you to see kind of the graph here. You can see when I bumped it up and everything else and how it took off, and it took 15 hours and 4 minutes. You know, this thing executed flawlessly, so I'm very happy with that. Nice work, Chef's Temp. And there is the pork butt. All right, so now I'm gonna bring this inside the house, and I'm just gonna put it on the counter and let it rest until it rests down to about 145, 150 degrees. So once this rests down, I'll kind of show you what I like to do with the slaw, show you what I like to do with this pork that brings it above and beyond, but it has to rest before we can do that. So we'll see you in a few hours. All right, guys, real quick before I go inside, I just brought the pork butt in, but check that out. That is 15 hours of use on this, over 15 hours and 4 minutes of use on one hopper full of pellets on this. Very efficient. We still have enough to probably do another couple hour cook in there, so very happy with that. All right, so this is one of the biggest secrets for how I do my pulled pork sandwiches. This is a pulled pork finishing sauce. It's very similar to Lily Q's Eastern North Carolina sauce, which is one of my favorite sauces for pork. I really like vinegar inspired sauces. So if you're not a vinegar person, this probably isn't gonna be for you, but I do recommend giving it a try at least once. It's very simple. It requires a few ingredients, and I'm just gonna go through them now, and I'll put a link down below to the entire recipe. It's one of my favorites, and not many reviews on it. A lot of people don't really know about it. So I'm just gonna kind of read them off here. It takes about 5 minutes to make. I did 1 cup of apple cider vinegar, 3 tablespoons of dark brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of Creole seasoning, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes, and a half a teaspoon of black pepper. Now, of course, you can alter any of those to your taste, but this really adds a nice, wonderful flavor. I like to drizzle this over the pork after I pull it. That vinegar in there helps cut through the fatty richness of the pork and really balances things out. Adds a little sweetness too with that brown sugar. Another thing I like to do is, I know a lot of people add a rub to their pulled pork after they pull it. I like using kosher salt. It just adds a nice little salty, vinegary pop with this. So that is secret number 1 that I'm sharing with you, and I've been kind of gatekeeping this one, but I highly recommend giving this a try at least once. All right, and secret number 2, of course, is going to be the coleslaw. Now, if you want to be the type of person that buys heads of cabbage and makes your own coleslaw, go for it. When I'm entertaining, I don't want to be sitting up cutting up coleslaw and doing all that. I just buy the baked stuff. It makes my life easier. For those of you who like to make it yourself, I used to do it all the time catering, and it's just a mess, and this just works a lot better. Of course, if you want to cut it up, make it fresh, go for it. You can follow this recipe along. This is kind of a cheat code for some good coleslaw here. So I'm just going to dump this in right there. Now, in the past, I didn't like to make my coleslaw ahead of time because it was getting too watery, too liquidy. It was losing the crunch that I really like on a pulled pork sandwich. My buddy Dan from Tailgater's BBQ, yes, this Tailgater's BBQ right here, kind of gave me a nice little tip, and it's to use less of the dressing than you think you're going to need and get it in the fridge. As it sits and permeates and gets better, it's just going to release a little bit of liquid in there, and it's not going to be soggy, it's not going to be runny, it's going to be perfect. Again, another tip I picked up from Dan is using this coleslaw dressing right here. Again, I was making my own, which I really enjoy. I like a vinegary coleslaw. Not on my pulled pork though, because that's why we have this. So I like a little bit of a sweeter coleslaw with a nice little crunch. And the trick to this is to add way less than you think you're going to need. So I'm just gonna start off with that right there. And that's only about 1/4 of the bottle. And then of course, I'm going in with a little bit of Tailgater's BBQ Party Rub just for that nice umami flavor on there. It's gonna balance out the sweetness. Now, if you want to add some vinegar to this, just add some of this to there, or add some apple cider vinegar. Make it your own, whatever you want to do. But I'm gonna get this shaken up and then into the fridge. And if I need to add more later, I can always add more, but it's real tough to take it out unless you have more coleslaw to add, and I don't, so I'm gonna be careful with this. All right, it's been a few hours. You can see we're sitting at 142 degrees. This thing has rested down well enough, and check this out. We have beautiful bark, beautiful jiggle factor. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to actually move this over here. I'm going to take the pork butt and I'm just gonna transfer it over to the sheet tray and put it right there. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take this fat separator and I'm going to dump this liquid in there. And I'm just gonna let the fat separate from the good juice we wanna keep. And we don't have much in here, but that's okay because we have our pork finishing sauce. So now at this point, we're just gonna get this shredded up. So we are done with this probe, and this thing did a fantastic job. Nice work, Chef's Temp, on this one. Big, big fan. Great job. First thing we're gonna do is pull this bone out right here. And you can tell that is a nice clean bone right there, properly cooked. You get that set off to the side. We're just gonna get in here and shred it up. Tons of moisture in there. Now you can see it's still warm, but I don't have any cotton gloves on. It's cool enough to handle with my hands, just some steam escaping. But look at that. That is absolutely beautiful. And I like a little bit more of a coarse pull. I don't like super finely pulled pork. I want some texture on there. I want some big chunks. So I'm just gonna break this down just a little bit here. And that is kind of the texture I'm looking for. If people wanna break it down a little bit more when they put it on their sandwich, that is up to them. But this also helps really retain moisture and keep stuff warmer quite a bit more. And you get these nice big chunks of bark in there. So the next thing we're gonna do is, now that we have a little bit of juice in there, not a ton, I'm just gonna drizzle that over it and toss it in there. This is a lot of flavor, so if you don't do this, I highly recommend it. I'll have a link down below for this little strainer. It works wonderful. I use it every time I do pulled pork, and I also use it for pancakes. So dual purpose. You can also use it for gravy. You're just gonna toss this pork around in there, just like so. Definitely needs a little salt. Just coming in with some kosher salt and just sprinkling it all over. We're constantly gonna be seasoning, tasting, and adjusting to make sure that this is flavored perfectly. So I think that's looking pretty good. Next up, we have our finishing sauce. Like I said, this is just gonna add some acid and help cut out that rich pork fat, and I'm just gonna splash it in a few different spots, just like so. This is more than enough for one butt. I'm gonna set that there, and then I'm just gonna toss this with the salt and the pork finishing sauce. All right, so to build my favorite pulled pork sandwich, we are gonna start off with a brioche bun because brioche is king, unless you have Martin's potato rolls, which I do not here. So if anyone has a hookup on that, let me know. I'm gonna take a generous amount of the pulled pork here and kind of make it into a pulled pork patty, just like that. That is gonna go on top of the bottom bun. I'm gonna take some more of this pork finishing sauce and just drizzle it all over. Just for that added acidity, help cut back on the richness of that pork. Then we are gonna take our coleslaw, which is still crispy because we did not overdress it, and that is gonna go right on top, like so. We're gonna go ahead and crown this bad boy, and check that out. That is my favorite way to make a pulled pork sandwich. So let's jump out and do the taste test, because this took over 15 hours and I haven't eaten all day. So let's do this right now. All right, it has been a long time coming. We are about to be rewarded for all of our hard work, and now we're gonna try it. Let's go. Right off the bat, you get the richness of that brioche, which is why I really like brioche for pulled pork sandwiches. You get the tang of the vinegar from that pork finishing sauce, but then you get the creaminess and the crispness of that fresh coleslaw, and it just all goes together so well. Nice little sweet element from the coleslaw as well. Going in for another bite. I'm telling you right now, there's a reason that this is my favorite pulled pork sandwich. You gotta give it a try. Even if you don't like vinegar, try the vinegar sauce at least once, especially with the coleslaw. It kind of balances everything out. I'm gonna go ahead and eat this. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, ring that bell, stay safe, and we will see you next time.